Hello guys! Welcome to Taiwan. I am here to present you the national dish of this country. So come with me and let's watch it together. Enjoy watching!
Taiwan food history is as murky as Taiwanese politics. Indeed, it's hard to talk food without getting political around here. Many of the dishes we like today would not exist without successive eras of global trade, colonialism, and hegemony. And nowadays, much of the international community has ghosted Taiwan. An overlooked island of in-betweenness which has no official representation in the United Nations, and is subject to the dwelling whims of the American and Chinese governments. How can you claim a national dish when most of the world doesn't even acknowledge you as a country? Taiwan forges ahead anyway, hailing beef noodle soup as its official cure-all. Taiwan is at a political crossroads, one that makes for a unique cuisine that's rich and complex, steeped in historical lore and brimming with the political landmines. Talking about food here is complicated, but enjoying Taiwanese food is quite the opposite. Sugary, aggressively herbal, and deeply umami flavors permeate the local cuisine in visceral way, a sensation that's only amplified in Taipei by its setting, often a bustling street corner, a jam-packed night market, or a steamy hot pot place. This is the essence of renownedness, the hot and noisy spirit that makes the islands breathe. It's the in-your-face flashing lights, powerful smells of stinky tofu, and jittery larger-than-life feeling that comes with being elbow to elbow inside a large, pulsating mass is one of Asia's densest urban centers. The food we think of as distinctly Taiwanese is in fact a hodgepodge. Local indigenous flavors and waves of outside culinary influences have all coalesced into the salty-sweet trademark of modern Taiwanese cuisine, in which handfuls of basil, garlic, and green onion superchange nearly every dish. For thousands of years, indigenous Austronesians lived exclusively of Taiwan's generous land and sea, enlarged a smorgasbord of gurgling streams, mineral hot springs, shamrock green mountains, and craggy coastlines. This way of life is for the most part a thing of the past, but 500,000 Taiwanese Aborigines still populate the country, and their culinary influences endures via local ingredients like millet and mountain peppercorn known as Macao. Flavorful dishes like cliff-wrapped abay millet dumplings and salty Macao spice sausages, and cooking techniques like salting and slow smoking. Taiwanese cuisine has several variations. In addition to dishes from the majority Hoklo, there are also indigenous Taiwanese peoples, Hakka, Waixingren, and local derivatives of Japanese cuisine, as well as other types of Chinese cuisine from outside Taiwan or Fujian. Taiwanese cuisine itself is often associated with influences from mid to southern provinces of mainland China, most notably from the south of Fujian, which often leads to it being classified as or grouped with southern Fujianese cuisine. However, influences from all of mainland China can easily be found after the Kuomintang retreat to the island, which brought along many mainland Chinese cuisines. A notable Japanese influence also exists due to the period when Taiwan was under Japanese rule. Traditional Chinese food can be found in Taiwan, alongside Fujian and Hakka style, as well as native Taiwanese dishes including dishes from Guangdong, Jiangxi, Chaoshan, Shanghai, Hunan, Sichuan, and Beijing. Taiwanese culinary history is murky and is intricately tied to patterns of migration and colonization, both locally and internationally. Taiwanese cuisine, particularly its history, is a politically continuous topic. Pork, seafood, chicken, rice, and soy sauce are common ingredients. Beef is far less common, and some Taiwanese still refrain from eating it. A traditional reluctance towards slaughtering precious cattle needed for agriculture, and an emotional attachment and feeling of gratitude and thanks to the animals traditionally used for very hard labor. However, due to influences from the influx of out-of-province Chinese in the early 90s, the Taiwanese version of beef noodle soup is now one of the most popular dishes in Taiwan. American food ate in the decades following World War II, which primarily consisted of wheat, beef, and spawn-like processed meats, forever changed the Taiwanese diet with wheat-based noodles, breads, and dumplings taking a more central role in the cuisine. During the Japanese colonial period, Taiwanese cuisine was divided with high-end restaurants, known as wine houses, serving Chinese-influenced cuisine such as Peking duck, shark fin with bird's nest soup, and braised turtle to the colonial elite, while those without wealth or connections primarily ate rice, porridge, pickled vegetables, and sweet potato leaves. Cooking oil was considered a luxury and was only used for special occasions. Taiwan's cuisine has also been influenced by its geographic location. Living on a crowded island, the Taiwanese had to look aside from the farmlands for sources of protein. As a result, seafood figures prominently in their cuisine. This seafood encompasses many different things, from large fish such as tuna and grouper to sardines and even smaller fish such as anchovies. Crustaceans, squid, cuttlefish are also eaten. Milkfish is the most popular fish in Taiwanese cuisine. It is valued for its versatility as well as its tender meat and economical price. Because of the island's subtropical location, Taiwan has an abundant supply of various fruit, such as papayas, starfruit, melons, and citrus fruit. A wide variety of tropical fruits imported and native are also enjoyed in Taiwan. Other agricultural products in general are rice, corn, tea, pork, poultry, beef, fish, and other fruits and vegetables. Fresh ingredients in Taiwan are readily available from markets. In many of their dishes, the Taiwanese have shown their creativity in their selection of spices. Taiwanese cuisine relies on an abundant array of seasonings for flavor. Soy sauce, rice wine, sesame oil, fermented black beans, pickled radish, pickled mustard, greens, peanuts, chili peppers, cilantro, sometimes called Chinese parsley, and a local variety of basil. Here is the national famous dish of Taiwan, the beef noodle soup. It is the combination of slowly braised beef with a tangle of slurpable noodles seems so fundamental. It is, however, considered the national dish of Taiwan, and given a distinctly Taiwanese spin with the addition of pickled mustard greens and the signature 5-spice powder of star anise, cloves, Chinese cinnamon, Sichuan pepper, and fennel seeds. Taiwan hosts the Taipei International Beef Noodle Festival every year, where the soup, in which wet noodles swim along with tender beef shanks, beef tendons, and greens in a hearty stock that's been slowly simmering with beef bones for days, is consumed by the gallon. Second one is the hot pot. Every season is hot pot season in Taiwan, so central is hot pot to the dining culture here that most home kitchens are equipped with their own dedicated hot pot burners that get pulled out for company. The third one is the guabao, often translated as Taiwanese hamburger, is a northern Taiwanese specialty and features puffy mantou steamed buns that are generously stuffed with slabs of sweet, fatty pork belly that's been braised in a mixture of a rice wine, soy sauce, and Chinese 5-spice powder and topped with crushed peanuts, pickled mustard greens, and cilantro. The next one is sticky rice dumpling. It refers to any leaf-wrapped bundle of sticky rice, and variations can be found throughout Asia. In Taiwan, it's usually pyramid-shaped with fillings like dried shrimp, mushrooms, peanuts, or chestnuts in addition to pork. Sometimes, there is pickled radish along with salted egg yolk plus other bits of crunch to counter the sticky chew of the rice. Next is Taiwanese fried chicken. It's served in fried chicken chains and night markets across the country. Taiwanese fried chicken is deep-fried not just once but twice, allowing for a crunchy shell that's as thin and delicate as tempura. Braised pork rice is how Taiwan suits itself. Like most of the world's comfort foods, it's neither fancy nor complicated, just fatty, soy-braised pork belly served over freshly steamed white rice. It can be relished on its own as a complete dish, or as the base of a meal that includes a number of different sides. Scallion pancake, sometimes known as a green onion pancake, is a savory, flaky croissant-like flatbread that mixes scallions into an oil-enriched batter that's ladled into a hot griddle and seared until crispy. Eat one on its own, or wrap around eggs, basil leaves, cheese, seared beef, ham, corn, and more. Century egg, Asian egg, anywhere from weeks to months in salt, lime, and ash, and you get pidang, and a grayish-black delicacy that's a bit like a hard-boiled egg surrounded by a jelly-like casing. The yolk tastes faintly sweet with an indulgent creaminess similar to really good cheese. Phan Thuan. Taiwan's handheld portable breakfast of choice is the Phan Thuan, a burrito-like roll of sticky rice encasing fillings that range from pickled radish, pickled mustard greens, braised egg, and a pork floss, to egg, bacon, and even sugar. Stinky tofu. It has plenty of the world's finest foods or stinky, cheese for one, and durian, and preserved seafood, even eggs, so the level of trepidation with which many foreigners approach Taiwan's fermented tofu is overblown. The stinky tofu is fermented in a brine that usually includes Chinese herbs, dried fish or shrimp, bamboo mustard, and amaranth greens. The result is moist, tender tofu that's most often served fried. Ayu jelly, made from seeds of a creeping fig variety native to Taiwan's mountainous regions. This squishy, sweet jelly is usually poured atop tart lemon juice and crushed ice, then sucked out of a plastic rib cup with an extra wide straw. Along with pearl milk tea, it's the refreshment of choice for surviving Taiwan's sweltering summer. What to drink in Taiwan? Taiwan has a robust ganbei or bottoms-up culture. The unofficial drink here is gaoliang, a sorghum-based jet fuel favored by Taiwanese tipplers that was born in northeastern China before finding its way to Taiwan. For a more sobering sip, high mountain oolong and black teas are still central to Taiwanese life, both in their cultivation and their consumption. Taiwanese food is gaining traction across the globe. Boba became a U.S. strip mall staple decades ago. But now chains like Din Tai Fung, Hot Star Large Fried Chicken, and 85 degrees Celsius Bakery Cafe are opening branches internationally, and Taiwanese restaurants in LA, New York, and elsewhere have tapped into a newly eager mainstream. Of course, like everything else in Taiwan, the force behind these recent movements is partly political, in a growing effort to distance themselves from Big Brother next door. Many Taiwanese people are trying to put a thumb on what's uniquely Taiwanese in all facets of society, including the food. As diners around the world begin to fall in love with the flavors of Taiwan, the hope is they might fall in love with the whole idea of the place as a culture, a travel destination, and its own independent nation.
Thank you for watching.